Hi, you lovely lot, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, the post-game recap wrap brought to you by Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be subscribing to said YouTube channel so that you do not miss an episode of the show, particularly over the festive period. So here we are, week 15, episode 48 of the show. You have put up with us for 48 episodes so far. What the future holds, who knows? But anyway, he's Chudders, I am Clazzy Clare, and so, Chudders, how are things with you?
So we had 2 weeks to prepare, 2 weeks to train, 2 weeks to coach, 2 weeks to develop, 2 weeks to learn, and that's what we got. What were your thoughts, Claire?
You know, honestly, my main frustration is the inconsistency, because if you watch the game and you take the game as a game, there were bits where they looked good, there were plays where they looked good, and it was like, oh, Gibson's good, or May didn't have the most amazing game, but we know that May's good. And it's like there were these little things, we know that they can do these good things, and then it's like in between kind of thing. So I'm still positive because I can still see we've got some good things. So I'm okay. I'm okay at 3-11.
You come out of that game and you're okay?
Yes, I'm okay. What do you want? Do you want me in tears? Is this it? You just got this perverse pleasure that you want me to be miserable then? So you want me to be sitting here going, oh, woe is me. It's tragic. I am miserable.
You don't have to be woe is you, but you can be woe is the team.
Yeah, but I recognise what is wrong, but I am still choosing.
Excellent.
So
I recognise.
We've said it. Why is this an ongoing thing that you don't seem to compute the fact that just because I like to look at some of the positive and I still think they've got some good things, that I'm blind to the negative and what's wrong? Every single week I have to like reiterate, I know there's bad things. I know it's not a good team. I know it's poorly coached. I've even said this out loud a zillion times on these shows, now 48 episodes. It's just that I still try and be that positive and look at the positive and focus on the fact that they've got something good and be happy. Why not? Just
because the team's playing rubbish.
Yeah,
the team's being
but they've
coached
got
rubbish.
I'd never
love to be happy.
that.
I'd love to be okay because we're entertained and pleased with what we're seeing on the field.
You could be okay if you chose to be.
But then what's the point of fandom if you're going to be happy no matter whatever happens, no matter how bad the product, how bad the game?
Life's bad enough as it is, so I'm going to choose that I'm not so bad about this.
Okay. So one question I was going to get to later, but maybe then this is an appropriate time for it. Going into the rest of the season, but I guess more already looking at the bigger picture and going into next season.
Mm-hmm.
I know you have positivity and I know you have hope. And they are
correct.
very good qualities that help you find your way, as you like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you have confidence in? I know you have hope in a lot of things. I know you have positivity in a lot of things. What of players, of coaches, of a setup, what do you have confidence in?
Probably not a lot. I have confidence in Drake May and his abilities, and the fact that as long as they don't screw it up, we can see him develop and grow, and he's going to be our quarterback for a long time. I believe he's showing a maturity in a way of a quarterback, as in sort of rookie maturity, if you like. I don't mean sort of like he's becoming a man off field. I just mean he shows maturity in a lot of what he does. He still pulls the rookie mistakes, but he had his 9th start on Sunday. So, and going into the draft, it was said that he was a little raw. So I'm fine with all those. I have confidence that he can grow out of those, if you want, for a better phrase.
I don't know. I think is one you could add to that. Personally, I would.
Yeah, but the thing is, yes, agree completely. Great player. He doesn't steer the defense the way that Drake May steers the offense, if you like, because obviously it's not in the same way. I appreciate that there are quarterbacks of the defense and things like this, but what I mean is having a really good cornerback isn't quite the same as having a really good quarterback in that respect of how it drives the team. It's still integral. Having good players is integral regardless of the position. I just think that the position of quarterback is a little bit more leadership and navigates it rather than having, you know, that elite or blue chip or whatever people want to call him. But no, I'm not saying they haven't got good. I think we're kind of going off track because now we're ticking on the boxes of what's good of the game, because it was a Gonzo game. It was a Gibson game, if you like. So,
I'd agree with what you're saying about Gonzo isn't the quarterback, the leader of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there'll be someone with a green dot who literally is the one calling out the plays.
Yeah,
that's changed. But I would think that highlights more probably the quarterback of the defense is probably more the defensive coordinator. Although you have someone on the field who's relaying that message, they're getting in the helmet and is maybe adjusting some of the positions. It's ultimately more about scheme and defense and what's being called than it is necessarily one person on the field who's driving that. There's some exceptions when you get some really standout players, maybe like Ray Lewis or similar ilk, that are true titans and leaders, but generally I would say it's more the coaching.
Yeah.
But then my question would be, do you have confidence in that coordinator that we have and him being in that role?
I have a question. Why am I under the spotlight right now? Why
because
am I
this
being
is a show with you and me? So I mean, if I could ask Robert Kraft, I probably would, or ask Jonathan if I could borrow his notebook that he was writing everything down in, which I think we can maybe get to that later. But I think that's an interesting note from the game.
I'm feeling highly attacked this morning. It's too early for all these questions. No,
No, I know.
Initially, going into the season, I, albeit naively, and I hold my hands up to that, thought that our defense was still going to survive and thrive, kind of thing, because they still had Mayo and they still had Covington. Whilst obviously both of those were elevated from one position upwards, I naively didn't think it was going to impact it as significantly. And I'm still an advocate of, I know we talked about this possibly 3 weeks ago now, the Steve Belichick effect. Losing him, I think, is way more significant than anybody really realised. I mean, I didn't want him to go anyway. I was never that I was never an advocate for him to go in. But when he did, I thought, okay. But now it just feels like, I think if I could reverse a small thing, I've said this before, I think I'd bring him back. But confidence in the defense, I really don't. I kind of want to, it's the same as, and you'll say, oh, you're on the fence and all this. I kind of want to give him the second year. But right now, evaluating him, no, he's not. Something is not going right. And the annoying thing is when you look at the likes of like Gonzalez, and Christian Ellis is quite a good player, and Alex Austin is quite a good player. We've got quite a few, reasonable, decent and good, depending on your variation of players on defense. So it really might come down to the sort of the coaching of why can't you slot it together. But no, I guess being blatantly honest, I don't have a lot of confidence. I fall back on the hope of, and the trying to be positive and the staying positive about it, and the giving them a chance, because that's, in all fairness, when we say you fan your way and I'll fan my, that's part of my personality as well. That's not going to go away, because that's literally how I look at a lot of things anyway. So I do find it difficult to look at it and say that I'm not going to be sort of that way about it. But the nitty gritty, the confidence in it, no, I don't have a lot of confidence in especially the coaching in this. There's two significantly large areas that I don't know how they can fix the one, because I'm not into sacking coaches right now. I don't believe taking it apart to add new pieces and giving them, I don't think that's going to work significantly. But the coaching and the O-line, and my worry is the O-line is not only personnel, it's coaching personnel as well. And that's really worrying, because I was really excited when Scott Peters came in, because he was going to be a guy who was experienced. Obviously, he's not going to be a star. Nobody is. But he was experienced. So that was okay. And he hadn't got any. And then it just all, yeah. So very long answer to a very short question.
No, it's good. Do you,
no, confidence,
it was
no.
Good answer. Do you have confidence in AVP?
I feel that he's developing, so a little, yes, because I feel he is growing. I feel he entered a really steep learning curve. I think he came in, he hadn't called, and he has all this quarterback experience and all this offensive experience, and it just doesn't quite relate to the role that he's in. I've got confidence in him as an offensive guy. I'm not sure if play caller is his jam. But him, if you said to me, do you want to keep him on your offensive staff? Do you feel he would be important? My answer would be yes. His role is something that I'm not sure.
I think that's fair.
So technically, yes, I have some confidence in him.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we're on pretty even ground with that one as well. I guess we might as well not wrap this up. We may as well
that's it, folks. Episode 48.
Continue this set. Do you have confidence in Jared Mayer?
Some,
confidence.
Yes. Some, yes. A little. Yes. A little.
Excellent.
Asterisks. Yes. Asterisks.
Yes, I've just not seen it yet.
Yes, there was a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. I'll try not to push you too much further on that. What?
No, have
the comment we had around. Go on.
You want a conversation about him? You. What about you? Have you got confidence in anything?
Very little. The players that you mentioned, Drake May. Yes, I've got confidence he's going to be the Patriots' next franchise quarterback. I have confidence in Gonzo. There's a few other players who I'd probably say positivity about. I think contribute well to the team, but I wouldn't necessarily say I have confidence they are elite or they're going to Pro Bowls or that they are necessarily individual stars that I think will win us games. And that could be players like Hunter Henry, who I think has been very good. He's been brilliant, but he isn't going to be a game-wrecking machine like some previous tight ends. No, that's positive about him, but I'm also being realistic you know, you're someone who loves tight ends. I suspect you would like Hunter Henry plus, if you like, as much as you love Henry, but you'd like something even better. And I think that's fair because probably better exists. In fact, certainly better does exist. But anyway, there's certain players like that. Like you say, Gibson. I'm positive about Gibson. Stevenson, positive about him. I think I've seen better from them, but mostly, I'm positive about them. They're not the sole reason we're losing games. So there's players that I have some elements of confidence in. What? Go on.
Obviously not this show, but I want to drop it in now because if we have any folks that want to comment as well, I'd be interested. We should do a show. So we should. Maybe we could. Who would you keep from the current roster? The keep and cut situation. And I don't mean go down to specifics with money and what their contract is, just a blatant in a vacuum, their names on a list. Who would you want to stay to either have confidence in or want to see develop or have some belief that they can develop? Because there's a couple of players I think that are on the roster right now that maybe whilst they're not they don't seem to be great. It feels like they do have potential. If we can just get some other things right, maybe we can elevate those players sort of situation. So maybe that's a off season or
I
after
think that's an off-season show we could do,
but
certainly.
There's a window of catching it before they do start releasing people and we get proven right or we don't.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
But yes, folks, comment if you want to in the YouTube comments, of course.
I would say on coaching side, on an individual basis, I think there's a lot of positional coaches that I don't have confidence in. You've said probably the number one of those is the O-line coach. It was really bad last year, and it's even worse this year. And yes, there's horses involved there as well. The players that you have. Go on.
I have a solution. Last year, the offensive line was possibly predominantly coached by David Andrews. Don't bring him back as a player. Give him some good O-linemen and have David Andrews as our O-line coach. I have just fixed our problem.
I don't think it's the worst idea you've ever come up with. I don't think it's the worst idea you've ever come up with.
Wow, that's saying something.
No, I don't know whether David Andrews is ready for that. You get the feeling that he wants to. The past few years, you thought maybe he's going to retire. You get the impression he'd rather go out on a high than on a low of going out injured. But Father Time might just get the better of him. He is brilliant. And you look at, and we thought about it with like Slater, who's obviously around the team as well, just doesn't necessarily have it's not like he's special teams coordinator, assistant. But there's a lot of some legends in there. Obviously Hightower's around as well. That potentially maybe that's something they could grow into. We'll have to see. I don't think the linebackers have been the problem this year, certainly not from a coaching aspect, but maybe from a speed aspect. But yeah, from an individual coaching positional place, there's a few there that I've not got confidence in. I agree with you, AVP, as a quarterback developer, I have confidence in him. I think Drake May has shown development, not just good play. He's shown some development. He did, in my honest opinion, he showed a little bit of regression this week, actually. There was some good passing, but there was some throws that looked like his tape from North Carolina, and we won't talk about their new head coach, where it was those sort of throws where this is a layup. There were players absolutely wide open, and you just sailed it over his head. Those intermediate throws were what we had concerns about, or certainly I did. I know you thought he was the perfect quarterback, but I had concerns about coming this season, and those were some easy passes that he missed. Possibly he was lucky not to be picked off, and then a play later he was picked off. So AVP as a play caller, I don't have confidence in that. I think it should change. As I said previously, I'm wondering whether something like a passing game coordinator specialist come in, as they like to say, the guys with tight trousers. One of these little geeks could come in and they could do that, maybe.
Should we just ship Evan down there? Should we just screw it and ship Evan Lazaroff down there? Evan, if you're listening, I know you're not. We're going to try get a petition to sign you to send you off to be play caller.
I'd love to see it. Give it a go, because he possibly couldn't do much worse. Covington, I don't have confidence in. Again, I'd love to think, and I'm going to be honest, I'd also apply this maybe to the head coach. I'd love if you could turn the machine and just put Covington back into his positional role he was in, and May back into his defensive coordinator position. Say, hey, look, guys, maybe we've found your limit and we stretched you a bit beyond them. Reality, you are very good coordinators, very good coaches. You're maybe not head coach and coordinator material. Can we just wind it back, put you back where you were? We think you could do an awesome job. I think that could be. Now, that's never going to happen because they both will have had a taste for this now. They won't want to come in and work for other people. I know that's not going to happen. But if you had a time machine or some sort of magic button you could do, then maybe we'd be in a better position if they were in those roles. Go on.
I think mine would be bring Steve Belichick back onto defense and get in a proper OC. is more like if I could do anything within reason sort of thing, not like just completely like blowing it all up and putting in everybody different sort of situation. I think that's where I'd go. But just personal opinion. What do I know? So yeah.
Well, to wrap it, I don't think I have confidence in Drake May. In Jared May as a head coach. I have hope. I love the guy as a player, as I've said before. He's a nice guy. I'm just not sure. I don't have confidence he's a head coach. He's had to go back and forth on his own words so much. He hasn't developed the team. They have. I didn't expect them to come out and suddenly be the 07 Patriots. And this new revolution, new head coach, we're a billion times better than last year when we have so many fresh things. But as with the quarterback, as with nearly everything, you hope to see development, progression. And I don't think I've seen that from spring training and the conversations, the media, the interviews, the everything. It's almost the same every week.
But
and I know that's partly his character. I'm not saying he doesn't need to be suddenly jovial or whatever, but I'm not sure I'm seeing progression, and I just fear that he's a great guy, but he's not successful head coaching material in the NFL, and I don't have confidence in that. I have hope. I don't think he's going to lose his job. He'll be around longer. I have hope and positivity and really plead that it comes good, but I don't have confidence in it.
I have a tiny bit, but yeah, not significant. It just feels like a guy that's thrown in to a role and he's just struggling to fill really big boots, and it just feels like I can't help going away from feeling like but you need to give him a chance personally. But again, that's like more of a reflection of sort of personality opinion that's this than just generally sport, I guess. I mean, don't forget Belichick's first season, he went 5-11.
Yeah, he did.
No, they're currently sitting at
I'm not sure what
3-11.
I genuinely don't know this question, but with Cleveland, I don't know how he went his first season in Cleveland.
Oh no, I looked up I double checked the Patriots one. Yeah, that's a good point actually. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, but that's another thing is he went 5-11 and he'd already been a head coach, so you could sort of push back a little bit. I'm not comparing the two. It was just a fact before anybody wants to like really at me and give it loads about it. It was just Belichick only went 5-11 and Kraft had a feeling about him, sort of thing.
So on Kraft, I wanted to bring this up then.
Dude, this is supposed to be a game recap rap show. You do realise that all you've said is Gonzo and Gibson are good.
That's about it. That's genuinely about it. That's all the goods, I think.
I don't know who. No,
so
Hooper.
I did what.
Hooper was alright.
So I did
like
want
my
to
tight
ask.
endage. Sorry, go on.
That's all right. Go on.
You wanted to ask. Aren't I shocked? No, go on.
So I wanted to ask on the Kraft thing, taking notes. What are your thoughts on that?
On the Kraft thing, what? Sorry.
So during the game, Kraft was shown. Jonathan and Robert obviously sat together as they always are in the shots that are on every single week. But it was quite noticeable that Jonathan Kraft had a notebook and they were talking between themselves, pointing and writing things down.
Yeah.
Are you reading anything into that?
No. There's two dudes that own a team and they want to make a couple of notes. Oh, this is where we get a grain of sand and make a freaking fort out of it. Sorry, no. I personally made nothing from that. So they're making some notes. There's issues with the team. Nothing's perfect. We know this. So they're making notes. I make notes. I'm terribly forgetful. He might have been writing his grocery list for all we know. or who he's inviting to Christmas dinner. You don't actually know anything. This is the one thing I really I'm not used to this sort of thing, because this sport, NFL, was my first sport to be passionate about. So this is these last 8 years of my first introduction to sports people. And some of yous be crazy, quite frankly. But no, I personally didn't take anything from that. I'm not going to knock you if you did. Not
Have
at
you
all.
seen him do it before?
If I've forgotten, because it wouldn't have stuck. It's not important. I feel it's not important. You might. That's fine. I'm not, as I said, nobody's opinion is wrong. I just took nothing from it. Haven't really noticed it before. To be fair, if he did or he didn't, if you tell me he's not done it before, I will believe you. I haven't really paid that much attention. When they do craft shots, I tune out anyway, because I'm interested in watching the game. To be fair
enough.
I take it you took something from it, etc.
Yeah, he looked angry. He didn't look happy. It looked.
His team was losing though.
Yeah, but it's not a normal disappointment from an owner. It looked like two people who were saying we need to do something about this.
Okay. What's wrong with that? Have you not just sat there and said we need to do something about this?
Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because as I've just mentioned, I think there's changes that need to be made, and not just to the personnel. I think not only were they making notes about the game, making notes about some things they want to discuss with leadership, whether that's with coordinators, with a weekly meeting they have with Gerard Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are making notes because they have serious concerns, and serious changes will be made, and not just, we need to write down that our left tackle's not very good because I think we might need a new one. I think it was more than that.
In all fairness, that's fine. I'm sure a lot of people agree with you, and there's nothing wrong with you thinking that. My point is, you don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
And that's my point, and that's where I get a little bit annoyed at, is because you think it doesn't make it fact. Now, I'm not just going at you, I'm going in general. And we're too involved in that of, I think it's so it's right.
I don't think I know everything. I don't think I'm right. I don't know what was being written down. Like you said, it could have been his grocery list. What I can do is say what I've seen before and what I saw at the weekend, and what the likeliest answer is. I think it's more likely they were making notes about the game than their shopping list.
Yes, of course. I'm not denying. I was just trying to be obtrusive on the matter, because you don't actually know what was written down there.
What I also think is interesting about it all is that it was almost so obvious, in as much as they're not stupid. They know they're on camera every week, which is why they'll often have John Bon Jovi sat next to them, or they'll have celebrities, they'll have former players, who I'm sure they're friends with and entertaining in their box and whatever. But it's kind of like Jerry Jones and whatever. They are owners, leadership, who are happy being on camera, and that's not a knock. There's some that hide away in a box behind dark glass and aren't interested in it, and there's some who quite happily are. We sit front row of a box, and for almost the royal box for everyone to see. Okay, they're not stupid. I think they knew they were going to be seen on camera in the demeanor they were in this week. Unhappy, writing notes down, pointing. Like, they're not stupid. They know that's going to be seen. They know that's going to be seen by, or talked about, or asked about with their head coach, with their coordinators. It's sending a message at the very, very least, even if they were writing their shopping list down, even if it was completely innocent, it was sending a message to them that we're not happy, we need to do something here.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's nothing, as you do. I don't
I
think
don't think it's nothing. I think there's too much. So they're writing things down. We know things aren't great. You've said it. We said at the beginning of the show.
But they're the people who would do something about it. That's why it's worth.
Yeah.
I'm
So they're
again
making
writing
some
something
notes.
down. That doesn't matter. So what? I'm making notes. They're the people who make the big decisions in the team.
So, and they're making sure that they get what they want to talk about correct. For example, so and so got this play
but
or whatever.
But the point is that it looks more likely they're going to be talking about these things. They haven't just assigned a head coach and said, right, we'll see you in 3 years.
No.
So the point is they think there's something potentially fundamentally wrong with the coaching, with the setup that needs to be discussed, that needs to be changed.
How do you know that they think there's something fundamentally wrong with the coaching?
Because they've changed their behavior.
Okay.
It's like if the Patriots were an 80% run team, and then 1 week they come out and now they're 80% passing, you'd say, we've changed our game here. We've seen something different. Why is that?
I'm not saying there's not something wrong with the coaching. What I'm saying is you don't know that that's what they wrote down. You don't know that that's the specific that they're focusing on. That's all my point is. I'm not saying there isn't. I'm not saying that they probably won't talk about it. What I'm saying is we don't know these things.
You don't know, but
it's all well and good to believe them and think them, and I've got no problems with anybody's opinion. It's when you think your opinion is the fact. This is the...
You know, I'm not saying my opinion's the fact.
No, I didn't mean
you.
I meant in general.
Right. But I'm trying to analyse what we've seen, and the reality is they're not going to be calling Vidarian Lowe in for a chat on Monday morning to say, we saw in this play you look like a glitch in a computer game because you stayed in your position and you jutted out left, but the defensive end just ran around you like you didn't exist 2 plays in a row when they focused on it. And honestly, I thought it was like a computer glitch because he was in his perfect position with the defensive end just running straight around him as if he wasn't there. I don't think that's why they took notes down. That's not elements they're really going to change, and I don't think they want to be changing. In as much as a general point, they could be going, I think we need a tackle here. But they shouldn't be the ones going, you know what, I think we need a left tackle. Hey, Gerard, these are the players I've seen. I've watched all the games. They're not doing what we're doing, what Evan does, whatever. Let's say these are 5 I think we should be getting. I've been watching some college tape yesterday. These are one. That's not what they're going to be doing. They shouldn't be getting involved in that level of personnel. Where they would be getting involved is in the coaches, because they're putting that management structure together. That's where they do have input and they do have impact. And so that's why they're more likely to be making notes about that, what they can change, what they are likely to have an input in changing. Anyway, we've probably gone on too long about that because we obviously have differing views.
No, see, this is my point. You do this all the time. I didn't say that I had a different view. I have opinions as well. What I'm saying is they're all opinions. They're not, we don't know. That's all my point was. I think there's problems. We've just spent 30 minutes talking about how I agree and how we agree on what problems we believe there are. Our levels of confidence obviously differ, but they only differ slightly. It's the hope and positivity that maybe I've got an iota more in certain respects. It's not that. I'm just saying we don't know what's going on. We can have opinions on what, and that's fine. It's we don't actually know that means anything, and that's all my point was my opinion of it.
So, are you happy with the tight ends?
Yes.
We even got a new one. Westover, 2 snaps. One was a kickoff, one was a kneel down, but at least you got another tight end you could talk about or look at. Not in any great detail.
See, this is something else that you sort of misconcede is I don't just want any tight end. I'm not just a case of, I just want a tight end because it's a tight end. I still want good tight ends. I really like how Hooper's developed. I think that's definitely a positive to take away. There's definitely an up. a couple of ups when it comes to from the start of the season. And initially, I think Hooper started off a bit shaky, or they didn't utilise him, one or the other. And now they are, and I think it's great. I think we've got a really lovely tandem. So the one thing for when this season finishes is if they don't re-sign Hooper, expect Clare devastation, quite frankly. That they've broken apart a competent tight end couple.
Not only have they been a good tandem, they seem to have a good relationship with Drake May. They're almost his binkies. I think that's good for his passing game. He knows that they're solid. I think they're something like 7 of 7 for 65 yards between the two of them. They are proving to be relatively reliable hands when a lot of the other receivers really haven't been this season. No, I think they are positive. Like you said, when we get to that show about who we want to keep, I think Hooper's one of them. Then we can have keeping that tandem there, developing Bell beneath, and then we don't need to look in the draft. I agree with you. So, underrated player of the day, I'm giving to Cole Strange, because he was about the only lineman I have hoping that could improve the team next week, because he didn't play. He was a healthy scratch. Because it was that damn bad. So, should we look ahead to next week, Claire?
Sure. At Buffalo.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, we haven't got time for me to talk about anything else anyway, so.
So away at the Bills, they're just coming off a massive win against the Lions for them. They are now the Super Bowl favourites in the betting odds. Let's hear how Claire thinks we're going to win this game.
I have serious disdain for Buffalo, although they're good. I'm still going for my one win after the bye. I'm still on that. I'm still on that train. I still believe that they will get one win out of the 4 games after the bye. I was hoping for 2, and this Cardinals game's kind of shot that one down. So, and I believe that they will beat Buffalo once. They will beat Buffalo once. So that's my one win. However, can't quite see in my crystal ball of predictions if that's a home or a road game. So I will need to predict a win for each of the Buffalo games.
Quelle surprise.
What? It'd be really boring if I predicted a loss, though. Because you're going to predict a loss, so it'd be really boring.
It's boring being right when it's negative. I promise you, I'd love to be predicting a win here. So you're going loss? Think you would. Are you going to put a score on it?
Yeah, 24-23 Patriots.
Wow. Okay. You're going for a win, 24-23.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope you're right, Claire. That would be quite a victory. I'm going to predict a loss. I think the Bills are playing incredibly well this season. I think they will want to win the game comfortably and then ease up. So I think they will put points on the board early and then just maybe not trounce us. I haven't seen enough in this offense to think we're going to trouble greatly that Bills defense. So I've gone for a 34-13 loss. And that's being relatively conservative with how well the Bills are playing. The other hope is that they've just had 2 really massive victories. And they might see this as a cupcake game for them, and they don't even bother trying.
Yeah, I feel
the reality is, even in that case, they'd probably still beat us. It's almost reverse Uno here. This is the sort of game the Patriots had 5-6 years ago, where they've just had 2 awesome victories. I don't know, at Pittsburgh and Philadelphia or something, and then they come in and they've got an easy division game that they think, that's all right, they'll easily win that one. And they always lost one a season because they were almost complacent. You thought, these are the easy games. Maybe that's what we are for the Patriots, for the Bills. Sorry, but we shall see.
Fair. I can completely see why you'd think that, and I'm more confident in your prediction than I am in my own. But it's just like, it wouldn't be fun if I didn't predict something that was different to yours at the end of the day.
Have I won this predictor game yet, though?
So far, you're at 6-3.
So you need to win all remaining 3 games.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
To tie. Wonderful.
More sandwiches for Chudders. Okay.
Well, I think I've just won. I've won one of them this week because 6.5 wins. We ain't going over that, I'm afraid.
And on that extremely unshocking bombshell, folks, we will end this episode 48 of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. We will be back next week, folks, on Monday. So keep your eyes peeled on the socials and all that, as they say, for the next episode. As for the one after that, it will to be determined. So we'll have to let you know. But if you're subscribing to the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel, no fear, because you'll always get this dropped. Anyway, so that is it from Chudders, myself, Claire, Clazzy Clare. Tune in next time, folks. And as always, go Pats.
LFG.